Good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream, and I'm going to do our May 29th Spiritual Principle Day in a meditation. I hope you're doing well this morning. The title of the meditation for today, the title of the meditation for today, Vigilance for the Long Call. Many of us leave not when things are horrible, but when we have one more spiritual hump to get over. We lose our way right before the miracle, sometimes again and again. Living Clean Book, Chapter 1, Growing Pains. Most of us have heard the saying, don't leave before the miracle happens. For newcomers, that could mean staying in a meeting even when the urge to leave feels like more than we can handle. After a little time clean, it might mean taking one more phone call from the sponsee who hears nothing we say, or choosing not to react when our boss or significant other pushes our last button again and again and again. But how do we get there? How does the newcomer stay in the seat when everything in them screams, get up, get out of here? How does the sponsor dig deep and offer experience, strength, and hope to the troubled sponsee instead of just sighing deeply and asking, have you prayed about it? How do we shift our focus from the momentary frustration of an argument to the fulfillment we experience in our relationship or career? It's easy to do the right thing when things are going well. When we're getting what we want or think we deserve. Sometimes, though, the rewards might seem minimal or feel like they're taking forever to arrive. Some members have described recovery as being a marathon, not a sprint. Marathoners call it hitting the wall. That point in the race when it feels impossible to keep going and there's no end in sight. It happens in recovery too. We live by these principles for months, years, even decades, but some of our hopes and dreams still seem out of reach. We can't even see the finish line yet, and we are tired. We have to remember that there is no finish line in a just for the day program. We're not here for the reward at the end. When, we keep the pace, even if it's slow and steady. We keep moving forward whether we feel like it or not. We might need to stop at an aid station for runners. A cup of cold water or sports drink every couple of miles make it possible to go the distance. In recovery, coffee or tea with another addict can get us over the next spiritual hump to the miracle on the other side. When I feel like quitting, I'll take a moment to remember that recovery is a journey, not a destination. I will be vigilant and keep moving forward. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. Vigilance for the long haul. Don't leave before the miracle happens. Keep coming back. Matter of fact, don't keep coming back. Just stay here. All those, I call them slick cliches, but all of those cliches that cause us to think upon the reason that we're here, the purpose, what brought us here, and why we stay here. For different stages of my recovery, staying until the miracle happens, not leaving before the miracle happens. They keep coming back. No, just stay here. It changed based on where I was at in recovery. There really was a time around my 10th year clean, and I've hit this a few times, but not so much in the last 15 years, right? So there was a time between, I would really think my 7th year as well, but there was a time right at the decade mark to the 15th year mark. Now, at year 15, I was headed to a different country to serve over there as a missionary. And so I brought my medallion early because I pretty much knew that I was going to be having a meeting by myself. Because in that particular country, it was a bit taboo to talk about having a drug problem. Yeah, you could have an alcohol issue, but you were known as a drunkard, and that was taboo too. So to talk about having a meeting place where people could get together, it wasn't until years after I left, years after I had tried to establish a group of non-using people to help me translate it into their language. It was years later until the World Service Office took on that endeavor. Okay. So I remember going into my 15 year thinking, here's the point, that I was going to have a meeting with me, myself, and I was going to meet at the same time as my home group at home. And I was going to give myself my own clean time, right? So there was a point between 10 years and 15 where they keep coming back and staying until the miracle happens. That I really thought, you've proved for a decade now or more that you can do this. There's really not any more that you can glean from staying clean. So it's probably okay if you go back to doing your thing. But I was so grateful for how far I had come that I just could not bring myself to pick up. I could not bring myself to pick up, especially at that stage, having people connected to me as sponsees, right? And so I could not, even when the thought would pass my mind, cross my mind, I could not get myself to end it and to use. And that's what I felt it would have been. I felt that I would have I really didn't know what I would do. I couldn't think of all of the possibilities of what I would end up doing. But I had a very clear memory of what it was my last day using. And I knew what my life was like for many days prior to me stopping. And I knew that I did not want to live through that again. Right. But here's the thing. There's nothing worse than stopping the use of that using lifestyle and still living in many ways the same way. That part I had to address. And by that time, 15 years, I was addressing quite a bit. I mean, to have the financial support of other people and be sent to another nation to live. Um, I've lived a dream, actually. I've done things that I didn't think would be possible. I've lived in India, I've lived in East Africa. And I'm not talking about short periods of time. I'm talking about months and months and years. Um, yeah. And then, the point is that at some point in time, it became less of an option to leave. I had to accept that this is your new lifestyle. It doesn't seem as exciting, right? but that's because you're not in crisis mode all the time. Um, but you have definitely done more than you ever thought you would. And so I started to accept that there's a new and improved version of myself. And that's where I rested it. I like this thought that sometimes we all hit a wall, just like a long distance runner, a marathon runner. They hit a wall, they get tired, but they have to stop at a aid station for runners, and they have to get some water. They have to get, they have to get some electrolytes put back into their system so that they can keep going. And I learned that a long time ago, that the ability to actually perform in an endurance type activity is making sure that your body has what it needs to do that. The body will keep going, but it's going to get depleted, and you need to be in a position to have access to the nutrient that your body needs so that it can keep doing what you're asking it to do. That's the same thing with recovery. And we have that. We have meetings, we have other people, we have the ability to experience the one on one, the only two, it takes two to make a meeting. We have the ability to do that. And sometimes those meetings and those conversations or those attempts to write a few more questions on your steps are the very thing that can fuel you onto the next stage, which is, that you're trying to overcome a hump, right? Or a difficulty in life. And you can push through. Service work has saved me. Listen, service work has saved me so many times. And I would go around committing to doing certain service positions that I could not hide from other people in, that there would definitely be telltale signs if I showed up at the business meeting high. And I would have to force myself to do these service positions because it was like a mind game to me. Well, you're not going to get high today because you need to set the meeting up tomorrow. No, well, Friday is your day to do such and such. So you're not going to get high this week. You need to show up. And it became something that I did not necessarily all the time for the right reason, but to me, staying clean was right enough. Right. And so I used that as my energy booster to get through humps where I felt awful. My name is Mighty Stream. I hope that you'll have a beautiful day. I hope you've enjoyed the meditation. That's what I started to say, but I also hope that you'll have a beautiful day on purpose. Now, I will be talking to you tomorrow. But like I say, in the meantime, make it the best day that you can. I intend to.